7, 6, 5, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Go. I'm Gary Peter Carlson, expert on souls and discovering that the people ruling us are in human bodies with reptilian souls. And here is John of Light.
Yeah, hey Gary, good to see you, and good to do another video with you. As we've stated before, we're going to try to do a series of videos, Gary and I. You know, Gary Peter Carlson, the world's expert on souls and spiritual research, and I am John of the Light. I go by John of the Light online. We've done 3 or 4, is that right? 3 or 4?
We're on number 5.
We've done 3 or 4 videos in a series, and we're on number 5. We can try to pick up where we left off, though there's so much information to cover. It may not feel like we're picking up exactly where we left off.
We can go into more about what the people with reptilian souls are doing evil.
So what we've covered in the first 4 videos is sort of the premise of Gary's research. How the world, the planet we live on, planet Earth, has been compromised. We have been captured. This planet has been occupied, taken over, and infiltrated by non-human entities that we call extraterrestrials. We call them ETs, non-human entities. Gary's research has asserted, and he has been trying to alert the planet, that these beings found a way to infiltrate humanity, and now there's millions of human-looking beings that are not human, that they have reptilian souls and souls from other ETs, yet they look human. Any quick comment? Did I say it right? Do you want to just confirm what I said?
Yeah, you said it right. They're disguised as us. To be human, you have to have a human soul, or have a soul that's modified to be human, like a starseed or a wanderer. But these people have human bodies, and a reptilian soul is put in the human bodies. It can get there 2 ways. One way is to make a human clone and catch the reptilian soul from one of their eggs by magnetic confinement and put it in the clone to bring the clone to life. I guess they put the magnetic confinement around the clone or something like that and release it. And the soul wants to incarnate in the human clone, which was the plan when the soul incarnated on the soul, when the soul took the life on the soul plane. If the soul didn't want to do it, then it wouldn't work. But right. They want to be there. They think they're going to have an easy life and be ahead of everybody and own and control things and have a wonderful life of evil and privilege, which they often get. But we're trying to end that, and so our humanity is trying to arrest these evil people.
Well, so we've gotten to this place where you have made a claim that's probably very difficult for people to believe or to fully understand. And you have come to this conclusion through years and years, over a decade of research. How certain are you? Just to lay that question out, somebody is going to ask you that. How do you know? How certain are you that you're right about this?
That's a good question, and actually, I can't be 100%, but I'm awful close. Okay, now I did well over 1,000 soul reports, and I got all kinds of information that way. I'm constantly told that these souls, especially wanderers, get to incarnate on all different planets. Wanderers incarnate on a different planet every life, and they mainly rotate through 5 planets of 3rd density planets. And when a planet goes to 4th density, as Earth will soon do, it's replaced by another 3rd density planet. And I'm constantly told that Earth is by far the hardest planet to live on. So these reptilians are making it sure hell on the human population here, and they don't know it because they don't have anything to compare it with.
Right.
Now, how certain I am, I'm almost positive I got it right, and the reason is these people are walking around. They have human bodies and human DNA. They look just like us. They eat and sleep and wear clothes and breathe and everything the same as us. But they work together, and they're into evil. And it's real clear that they don't have empathy for others. They don't seem to care who they hurt or kill.
Right.
And so this group of people is definitely different than us. And if they have the same bodies as us, the only different thing left is the soul.
Right.
And I get all kinds of real clear spiritual information on souls with the pendulum as I do soul reports. And I offer a guarantee on my soul reports. And after several thousand soul reports, I got like 2 or 3 people wanted their money back. And 2 of them were women that didn't like something I said during the consultation. Like I talked about them being overweight or something, and they said, I want a refund. Wanted to spite me on that. I had to change some of the refund rules to stop some of that, or to stop those few things. If you notice anybody else that does spiritual services, they say no refunds. And I'm the only one that does spiritual services that offer a refund. And also, I have a free mini soul reading that I offer everybody, but only the person that sends the email. I won't let anybody send me a list of people to do. It's just the one that sends the email can get the free reading. And it has a lot of value. You get your soul score, your status, whether you're in cycle, you're qualified for ascension, you're a star seed, a wanderer, or you could be a reptilian. You get your status, and you get your amount of good and bad karma on my numerical system that I'm guided to use. Some people argue about that I got karma wrong. And then they say, well, how is it? Tell me how it works then.
Right.
And then they say something like, well, you're doing it good for your audience. And they don't have an answer, So I'm experiencing, and so is John, karma discharge, as we're both wanderers. And the rule is that I've been told that I've learned dowsing. I've learned all spiritual rules dowsing, and they all make sense, and they all seem to add up. And one of the rules is wanderers must discharge all their karma before they die. Yeah. Or they could be suspended if it's too high. And sometimes I guess they do something where they can discharge it the next life. But the regular humans get 3 lives to discharge their karma. And if it's super high, they go through a life living in a wheelchair or something like that. But they don't do that to wanderers. They give wanderers a halfway good life so that they can do something to help in our case, humanity, with spirituality. So they give you a halfway decent life in a good home where you're not broke, starving for food and all that, and you have the opportunity to create, to help humanity. So they won't give wanderers a life in a wheelchair for bad karma or something like that. But usually wanderers have an advanced soul and they don't get that much bad karma, but they still can, you know.
All right, well, let's get to some questions, and let's clarify for any viewers out there that we are very interested in helping them understand this information. We're not doing this for any personal benefit or personal gain. We want to help humanity understand some of these spiritual truths and soul truths that you're not going to be able to learn about anywhere else.
Well, so, let me say this.
Yeah.
Our goal, if we could come close to achieving it, is for everybody out there to know that the people ruling us in the government, the corporations, the religion, the education, the medical,
banking, everything.
They all got human bodies and reptilian souls, and they don't have empathy, and they're evilly controlling us. If we can get everybody to know that, I mean, people say, "Hey, this is no good. We gotta stop this. We gotta arrest these people. We gotta get them out of power. We can't have this no more. We gotta change this." But right now, nobody understands what's going on. They're disguised as us, and nobody knows it. And we want to expose them so that humanity can say, "Hey, there's no more of this. We got to change this."
I think what you just said is fabulous. I love that you said that. Certainly, that was one of the questions that was on my list. Okay. What would be sort of the ultimate goal? You said to get everyone aware of it so that we could all together rise up and do something about it. These are non-human entities running, controlling, and occupying our planet, essentially enslaving humanity, correct?
Yeah, they're controlling the media, so they only tell us what they want us to hear.
Right.
And you have to go on the alternate media to know what's really going on, and that's only like 3 to 10% of the people do that. Most of the people, 70 to 90%, they just listen to television and the radio, and they believe what they hear, but they're constantly being lied to.
They're getting, so you could say they're getting reptilian news.
Yeah, they're getting reptilian news, and every single one of these wars going on wouldn't happen if it wasn't for these people with reptilian souls. We would have no wars. Everything would be negotiated. We would have no poverty. We would have no shortages. We wouldn't have a few people be fabulously rich and the rest of the people, the majority of the people, or at least a quarter of the people going payday to payday just to make it, and going in debt and struggling for money. That wouldn't be the case without these reptilians.
So you've often said in the last 10 years I've known you that we've got to get these reptilians out of power. And the reason they're not human, they have no empathy for others. They're all about themselves, looking to enrich their power. They're selfish, they're service to self. And that's so different.
They want to own and control everything. Go ahead.
And that's different than humanity, right? Humanity is very different than reptilians, right? Say that again?
We want to share.
Okay, humanity has empathy for others. We have love in our hearts and we want to help one another.
Yes. Don't.
ETs call that service to other. So we have an inclination as human beings within our soul to want to be of service, to want to be helpful to others, the exact opposite that is the reptilian soul.
Right. You look on society with all this crime and corruption and burnings and fires and super bad, unbelievable weather and droughts and floods. None of this is normal. It's all caused by these reptilians. You take them out
Right,
of power, and all that goes away. The crime rate will like if the crime rate now, let's say it's at 20. The crime rate would go down to 3 or something like that if you get rid of the reptilians. Most of the criminals have reptilian souls. The shoplifters have reptilian souls. The bank robbers with guns. When those riots come and they burn everything down and stuff that happened when Trump was first in or whatever, and he couldn't. They called it a peaceful revolution and shit like that. Some of the Democratic mayors and stuff. That was all people with reptilians doing it. And when a person with a reptilian soul gets arrested for a crime, the judge is reptilian, the police chief is reptilian, the courts are reptilian, and he don't get punished or do much jail time or anything. While a human caught for the same thing gets like 14 years in jail and fines and harsh penalties. It's not the same. I mean, you can tell, you can look at what happened in court and figure out if the criminal has a reptilian soul or not.
All right, so let's talk about that. We have a very difficult time. Most people would say no way to identify them. Do they each identify themselves easily?
I think they just know. I mean, they're told ahead of time.
They just know. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, they know who has one, and then one says, "Here's my friend. He's one of us," and they get an idea who has it or not. They might have some secret language or some secret questions to ask each other to identify them, like, are you of the heart or something like that. They might have some secret way
society stuff.
To ask each other, and when the guy knows how to answer the secret question, and then they know that they're one of them.
Right. It's like secret society stuff.
I don't know what they do, but I'm sure something like that's going on. Okay. Have you ever seen one of these paintings or old pictures where the guy has his hand in the vest?
Yeah.
The reptilian is that reptilian soul for sure.
And every one of them knows they have a reptilian soul? In other words, they were told at birth?
Everybody's looking at that picture that has a reptilian soul knows that he's one of us.
All right, so I asked you this.
There are a lot of them are in entertainment too.
Right, sure.
And when they're a male with a small thin body,
right,
they become a tranny and dress as a female. So they can make more money. I mean, there's several of those, like Lady Gaga, Taylor Swift.
Sure.
There's a few more of them.
Let me get to a couple more questions. I asked you earlier. I was hoping you could sort of repeat what you said before. It seems obvious the connection between the original race and their human entities with their reptilian souls. And obviously they're in some sort of constant communication. The humans with reptilian souls are working probably for their reptilian race overlords. I guess my question is, what does this massive effort to infiltrate and control humanity have for their original reptilian races?
All right. I mean, I asked a few questions about the pendulum and how that works. I mean, obviously I can't know, but they're there's a group of reptilians and reptilian bodies. They have some underground bases, I think, like in Antarctica and a few other places, and they have cloaked spaceships.
Right.
Now, if they're in our solar system and they did evil, they're trapped, so they can't get out of the solar system by the good forces. And when our solar system goes to fourth density, planetary ascension, their soul can't go in fourth density and they all die. So they know that they only got so much time to live before they're all going to die. But there's a group of them, the top people in their group with reptilian souls, they direct making the clones.
Right.
Okay. And they try to pick bodies with real good DNA, and they clone those bodies, and then they add their soul, and they try to put that person in a position of power. And if it's a female, they try to get that female to mate with somebody that has real good DNA, and to have children that'll have reptilian souls. And then those female children, they try to mate them with somebody with good DNA, and so forth, and try to make more of their group and put them in positions of power. Now, I'm pretty sure that now that they got like 4 million people, and they're not in total perfect control of the planet, but they're somewhat control. Lately, in the last 50 years, they've way accelerated it. They used to have humans running every country, and they were kind of controlling the humans. And now they changed it to they have one of their members as the leader of every country. There's very few countries with a human leader, maybe
sure,
out of 10% or something like that.
It probably mirrors the countries with central banks because they probably own and operate all the central banks, which means they print their own money, which means they can buy anything they want.
Yeah, they are the only ones that create new money. They got a monopoly on that. And like I've said in other videos, I'm told that we got them outnumbered like 1,700 to 1. But they got 80% of the money, right, when they should have under 1% of the money.
Okay.
And they should own under 1% of the assets, and they own about 25% of the assets. So they got a real good control of that. Now they got all these people that work for them, and now they got good jobs where they're getting paid a lot of money, and if you go to that guy and try to tell him your leader, the guy running your company's a reptilian, we got to go against him and take him out. I mean, that guy, I'll lose my paycheck.
Yeah, right.
I can't do it. I'm not going to do that.
Well,
I mean, just like they did that with. Oh, I don't want to go into that. Okay, go ahead.
Let me get to it. Let me get to another question. This is one of the most difficult questions, but one that viewers, I'm sure, are going to ask you and have many times. What can we do about it? We kind of already asked the question, and you kind of said, well, we want to get everyone aware of it, and then together as a race, as a species, humanity might be able to put some kind of an effort to get rid of these non-human entities that control our planet.
If they were like a person that was green in color, and everybody else has skin like us, yeah, and you could see who was them, and they were doing all evil stuff, the humanity would get together and say, we ain't gonna follow you. You're not.
We don't want these evil extraterrestrials running our show. Yeah.
Right. So obviously, if we can get everybody to understand what's going on, people aren't going to put up with it.
Right.
I mean, they got access to the top weapons and the top technology, and they might even have some secret technology to use on us that we don't have. But we got them outnumbered so bad, and there are humans that have access to some of that technology, that work with them in some of that technology, and if all the humans below say, you know, let's get these guys out, you know, you know what's going on, let's lead us how we can get them. I mean, we could take them out if everybody knew what's happening.
All right, let me go to the next question. This is interesting. You said that if we could, and everyone knew about it, and everyone could identify them, obviously the goal would be to take them out of power. Thing that a lot of researchers are talking about. Benjamin Fulford online talks a lot about this. There's the polshift.ning.com website that talks a lot about this. It's also a QAnon theory. People assert that there's this white hat military alliance that for the past 8 years, since 2016, 2017, has been arresting some of the worst, taking them to Guantanamo Bay and trying them for horrible crimes against humanity, genocide, the worst of the worst. Do you ascribe to that theory? Do you believe that this is happening kind of in secret, in the background? And if so, is that a initial effort to take down the Draconians?
Okay, I'll tell you what I know on that. First of all, there is a secret group of white hats that are arresting some of the most evil Draconians. But the secret group of white hats is infiltrated by people with reptilian souls that are lizard souls.
I mean, it's crazy.
The group that's supposed to take them down is infiltrated. So they're only going to go so far. So they actually made some kind of deal with them. Every time they arrest one of these people, it's done in secret. They take them to Guantanamo Bay in secret. It don't make the press at all. Nobody knows it's happening.
Right.
And they even tell the Draconians ahead of time, we're going to grab your governor of X state, and they prepare for somebody to replace him. They come up with a clone that'll take his spot so they can keep that position of power. So if they got the governor of state X, they tell them like 4 months ahead of time, this guy's committing too much evil and the public knows it. We're taking him out. We're going to execute him. And then they start making a clone of him, and they grow the clone. Takes like 3 months and takes a week to somehow they can teach the clone to read and write and talk. They can do that real quick somehow with the computer. And then it takes like another 2 or 3 months to train the clone to replace that governor. But they do that, and the guy looks pretty similar. And so they get to replace him and keep that position of power. That's the deal they get going.
Let me be clear though.
That takes out the evil guy that did a lot, but it doesn't take out that power position and put a human in it.
So I'm confused because a lot of people say that it's not all an actor. And if the actor is great with a great voice and knows everything about the person.
Your voice cut out for a second there. Start again on that question.
All right. I'm not sure where I cut out, but what's confusing to me is that it's not always a clone. It's often an actor, correct? It's often an actor that's a look-alike. They call them a double. And if it's that's really good at playing that role, they might even wear a mask, like a Hollywood level, CIA level mask. A good example would be Joe Biden.
Yeah, it could be any of that. But it kind of don't really matter, because if they do get a double, you can be sure the double has a reptilian soul.
Right. So here's my question.
The clone. They keep that position of power. They keep the governorship of that state, and they continue to control that state by the governor. They just have a different body in there, and he's the first guy was a puppet anyway that did a lot of evil, so they put another puppet in.
All right, so let me ask a different question. If the White Hats take out a draconian target and they take him to Gitmo and replace him with an actor, is often that actor a lizard reptilian soul, not a draconian reptilian soul?
No, he's going to be a draconian again.
So if they pull a Joe Biden out of position and take him to Guantanamo and try him for crimes against humanity, and they replace a Joe Biden with an actor or a mask-wearing actor, if he was a draconian, they often replace him with another draconian?
They always will replace him with another draconian.
Huh, that doesn't make sense.
The draconians own that position, and the lizards took the guy in that position out, so the draconians get to put another draconian in there. They got a deal on that, or they got an agreement on that.
All right, so let's go back to the White Hats. You said the White Hats, which everyone thinks is either real and some bright light for humanity, or people think it's just BS. But if it's real and they're truly taking out the worst of the worst, you said they've been infiltrated. Have they been infiltrated by lizards and draconians and maybe others?
No, just lizard. It's
lizards mostly.
It's humans and lizards, and they I think they control part of the secret space program too, Solar Warden or something like that.
And then people refer to the Black Hats.
There's 3 or 4 branches in the secret space program, I think.
Okay.
I think that the White Hats own one of the branches. So they got the high technology. They can control the weather and stuff like that too. Sure. But they can't stop the evil group from controlling the weather. They could do the same thing if they want it, like cause droughts and floods or whatever, but they can't stop the evil people from making droughts and floods.
All right, so let me confirm this. You get that this White Hat International Military Alliance is both humans and reptilians, but they're the better of the reptilians. They're the lizards. Yeah, they're ones that aren't as dark. They're not as evil.
Yeah, of the 4 groups of reptilians that I named, draconians, lizards, snakes, and dragons, the lizards are the least evil, but they're still moderately evil.
All right,
they're
so
still ready to chop somebody's head off or kill a bunch of people if they needed to.
And then we hear about the people they're taking out, this White Hat Military Alliance, and bringing them to Guantanamo. Internationally, usually the ones they take out are likely draconian, correct?
Always.
Okay, and then we hear about the Black Hats. Those are mostly draconian?
I think they're pretty much all draconians.
Okay.
Black Hats be 100%, yeah. Now, draconians are by far the most evil. They're the only ones that are pedophiles. Let me tell more about them. Normally, draconians in their lizard body form, they don't have genders or are androgynous. So they just have one gender.
In their original form, draconian form.
Yeah, I think they have 3. I think they have warriors, royalty, and workers. I think they have 3 kinds of people as well. But they don't have genders. they do exchange DNA somehow to make their eggs, but I think they all can lay eggs. And when they incarnate in a human soul, they're confused and they often go gay or transgender. And the way their soul works, if they have sex with a child before puberty, they get this super fantastic energy rush that humans don't get and none of the other reptilian groups get. Just the draconians. They get this massive energy rush that is super pleasurable. And they all, once they try it, they all want to keep getting it. And that's the whole deal for child trafficking. So draconians can get that energy rush. That's why they're capturing children all over and selling them and all that, just for draconians to get that energy rush.
So the rise of gay, lesbian, and trans has this is 100% come from the draconian race.
Right, yeah. Yeah, all that
LGBTQ
stuff, that's draconian. Now they suckered some humans to copy it and get in it, and they write a bunch of books
because they're pushing it,
and they try to tell little kids to think like them and say you can be whatever gender you want, and they try to confuse kids.
They're pushing the LGBTQ stuff
on humans, and see
on humans, confusing everybody.
Yeah, and let me tell you how it works on humans. Every human soul has a choice, has a preferred gender. Every soul either wants to be male or either wants to be female. They have a preferred choice, and when they incarnate, they get their preferred choice 93% of the time. But 7% of the time, they got to take the other gender so they can get all the experiences that God wants them to have.
Right.
So when a little kid is in that 7 percentile and he incarnates with the other gender, when he's a little kid, things don't feel right. He feels confused, like something's wrong and all that. And the draconians catch that right away and grab that kid and start feeding him all kinds of LGBTQ stuff. Oh, you can be the other gender. If you feel something's wrong, you don't have to be a male anymore. You can be female. You can wear female clothes. You'll feel better. And we can give you these shots and stop
they're pushing this evil. Yeah.
So
what's interesting that you just said, this is a story in and of itself. You're asserting that the origin of the entire LGBTQ movement is the draconian race that's running our planet, mainly because they are confused when they incarnate into a human body, because in their original reptilian draconian form, they're androgynous. They're neither male nor female. So they get into a human body, they incarnate this reptilian soul into a human body, and yet they're born with male or females. And yet that's confusing to them because they're not familiar with that.
Right. And a male draconian, from what I've seen, it becomes gay or transgender or bisexual over half the time, maybe like 70% of the time. Almost all these elites that are draconian are gay. And a lot of them secretly. A lot of times they're one draconian male marries another draconian male, but one of them pretends they're a female. So they have a marriage that looks like it's a male and female marriage. It looks right to the public, but they don't realize that they're both males. Well, I mean, that's a case like Obama and his wife is a clear case. And even that Jared Kushner and Trump's daughter. She's a male, but they changed it. Like, I don't know if everybody. So that Jared, they're both males there, but it looks like Jared Kushner married Trump's daughter, but he really married Trump's son. Now that's a lizard, but he decided to be a tranny, even though he's a lizard, just so he could get with that person.
It really is amazing when you learn that almost everything we've ever been told is a lie. It's so incredible. They teach us, they tell us what they want us to think, what they want us to believe. It's really like a draconian level media. You know, it's like indoctrinating and brainwashing humanity into thinking and believing exactly what they want them to think. And the ongoing media is like maintaining these levels of what they want people, humanity, to believe and think. And almost everything is a lie.
All right, we got to end with that. We're over the time limit, and we'll continue next year. I hope we said a lot of good things to enlighten you. Thanks for listening, and we're going to make a bunch more videos. So
we're just trying to help humanity, Gary. I love you, my friend, and much love to everyone out there.
Okay.